Hey, Scott.
Morning.
How you doing?
Good morning, Scott. How you doing?
I have a Zoom call at 10:30.
No
If
pressure.
this takes that long,
No.
then
Well,
something
We went, yeah.
something went awry.
We understand.
But I just want to let you know that I do need to leave about 10 minutes after 10 if for some reason we're.
That's
You're
good.
sitting
I don't expect we to be here that long.
How does the pond look?
They have made great improvements. They got probably 90% of the, or more.
95% of the
Yeah.
duckweed out. There's still some in there. He could have chased that little bit around forever at $250 an hour trying to get it, but
I need a job that pays $250.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, he looks like he has fun out
that
there.
machine that he's doing with, he told me that it cost $180,000 and it came from Sweden and $20,000 to have it shipped here.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of hours sucking up duckweed just to cover your costs,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I left my phone in the truck. If we have time, I'll show you a video of it running around in the
We
pond.
actually met with someone one of the days. I don't know how many days he was out there, but
Just,
he
yeah.
was on the machine one of the days, and we could see him through the trees,
Yeah.
just chugging that stuff up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
It's a pretty impressive machine.
It is. But anyway, he got that much, and we're gonna try. We didn't have the sprayer we needed last Saturday when we had a north wind. It had the rest of it down close to the dam, and Bill got a bunch of it out with he had a
It's called a pond rake. Yeah.
had a rake thing on it about that long and probably a 6 or 7 foot handle.
At
with a
least.
rope and some prongs and a screen.
You throw it in
Throw
the
it out
water
there,
and pull it up.
Yeah, we have fastened hardware cloth on the tines and put a pipe insulation on the head so it would float. Just draw it back through. So it's pretty good at it. It's not as good as his machine, but
A lot cheaper.
yeah, a lot cheaper. And
A lot hard more
A
work.
little
Yeah.
more,
yeah, but like
sweat equity in
like
that.
a yoga class, but it's
We're gonna try to, hopefully we'll have a north wind this afternoon that might, we got some herbicide, we're gonna try to, if we get corral, we'll
it's a
spray what we can, but it'll be, there's still, it's in the edges, the grass and all, we'll have to go around and spray that.
yeah.
And hopefully all this bacteria they introduced in there and the
Aeration.
aeration will,
Process it and
will process down the nutrients level where stuff won't be prone to grow like it is,
Yeah.
like that duckweed.
I had an opportunity to visit with Dustin.
okay.
And he seemed very confident
He's
that what he's done and what y'all are doing and will continue to do is going to be just what it needed.
he's pretty impressive guy when you get somebody to do a job for you this day and time. You don't run on people as impressive as he is.
I've told people recently that if you can just be where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, doing what you're supposed to be doing as a contractor or a subcontractor, you're going to have more work than you could ever get to
Right.
if you'll just do those 3 things.
Yep.
So, all right, let me tell you where I'm at.
Okay.
If you want, or would
Yeah.
you like to
No.
go first?
No. Go ahead. We're just catching up on events.
Like I said, I had an opportunity to visit with Dustin. I called him and we talked about it for a little bit. I'm going to say some things that you probably agree with, and I'm probably going to say some things you disagree with. I'm asking you to just let me say what I want to say,
Okay.
and then reasonable minds can disagree. But when we're finished, obviously you'll feel free to correct anything that I say.
Okay.
But I'd like to just, for a couple of minutes, kind of tell you where we're at, where I'm at.
Okay.
Okay. We moved here in 1978 when my dad was appointed the associate pastor at Trinity Methodist Church. And I can remember going to Hillcrest. That's where I went to elementary school. And he'd drop us off every morning. I have a twin brother and a little sister, and we all went to Hillcrest. And he would tell us every single morning, be kind to everyone. And when you're third, fourth, fifth grade, that doesn't sit all that great, right? You think, my dad's kind of weird. And, you know, you get older and you become an adult, you have kids of your own, and you realize kindness goes a long way.
Can.
And I told you both from the beginning that I wanted to be a good neighbor. And I meant that. My adult life is not stellar at being kind to everyone. I've messed up. I hope I'm better now than I used to be. But for whatever reason, that's been banging around in my head. I told you he's had some health issues, and it's been an emotional summer and fall. Guys, I do not believe that we are the sole and singular cause of everything that's happened in your pond. I think we probably contributed to it, and I think we may have been the straw that broke the camel's back when it comes to what's happened to your pond. And I'm sorry for whatever part we've played in the damage to your property. We did not do it intentionally, and we did not do it with any malice or in, you know, we don't want anything bad to happen to your property or anybody else's. And so for whatever role we played in that, I don't believe it's the exact role that maybe you guys do, but we can disagree on that. For whatever role we played, I apologize for that, okay? We are taking steps to do everything that we can to ensure that this doesn't happen again. We are working with the Department of Health on what they call a plan of action, that if the electricity goes out, what now, right? And we've had, I can't tell you how many vendors we've had come by to talk about generators and pumps and all the things we've talked about, right? And we basically told the Department of Health, James in Ruston, but he's answering to somebody in either Monroe through Baton Rouge or straight. I'm not exactly sure what the chain of command is, but we basically said, tell us what to do so that you guys can support our system, saying we recommended this, we stand behind it, they have done enough to meet our requirements. And so we don't know exactly what that is yet. I can tell you that we've already got the alarm system on the schedule, and that is going to be put in the next week or two, so that if there's power loss or if there's high levels in the wet well, that we'll get a text message, a phone call, email, all three. I don't know exactly which way we'll set it up, but we will get an alert like last night. I don't know if you got woken up by the weather. I certainly did. And I'll be honest with you, the power going off in the park was a concern of mine. When it was over, I came to make sure the light was on in the park and at the pump, because I want you guys to know, I don't want this to happen again. I know you don't. Mm-hmm. I don't either. Okay, I want to own this property. I want to provide 80 people with a place to live. Hopefully one day get it paid off and make some money. But I don't want there to be friction or animosity with any of my neighbors. This side, that side, this side. I don't want that. I want us to live in harmony the best that we can, right? And I want to be that good neighbor. And so I guess what I'm getting to is I want to pay for your pond clean out. Okay? I didn't remember all of this. Let me write this down. I wrote it down. You sent me an email. Yep. I meant to print it out and I never did. I did, for whatever reason in the car, write it down this morning. The vegetation removal was $25.85. The sludge away was $200. Micro beneficial bacteria, I know y'all know what that is, whatever that is, $1,800. The travel, I know y'all already made a $500 deposit. I don't know past that what, and I say I know you have, it's what the invoice said.
Right.
Past that, I don't know what you've paid or how we want to arrange payment or whatever. That totals $54.45. And I know the bill was for around 90 something minus the 500. The aerator's $5,200.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big ticket item. And when I talked to Dustin, he indicated that because of the age of your pond, that it probably needed an aerator many years ago. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm asking you if we can discuss chopping that up some, since you're going to keep it into the future and it will continue to provide benefit to your pond. I'm paying a bunch on my side to improve. I'm just wondering if you guys have any thought on, can we find a way to chop that up so that I don't bear the brunt of all of it for something that you're going to enjoy for years to come, if that makes any sense.
Of the aerator.
Of the aerator, the 54.45, all of the clean out expense. Now, I don't believe I'm solely responsible for what happened. I don't want to harp on that. I don't want to litigate. I don't want to argue with you. I know you feel differently, and I respect that.
Okay.
I've talked to some folks. I know there's a lot of runoff from that pasture back there that's fertilized every spring, and I know it's fertilized every spring because we smell it when the wind blows, and I know that can contribute to a nutrient load that may have occurred in your pond. To what extent, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I've talked to enough people who do know stuff about that, who think that probably contributed to it as well. Again, I don't want to litigate this.
I understand.
Okay. I'm just asking for your input on what you think about chopping that up.
Andy, I'll let you go first.
I can see your thought on that totally. On there, that it's it can be considered a maintenance type thing. And any pond, probably that old, could use one. You know, the thing about it is, I still believe that after all of these years, and it's, you know, that amount that went in there last fall was way more nutrients and a shock than has ever been in there. I told you, I think that last time that the old water grass growing on the edge of the pond, it never grown like it in the past like it did this summer, from the amount of nutrients in that water where it's growing on the edge. So anyway, that's what I believe on it. I had thought, and I told Phil the other day, that I thought you would do just what you told us. That you would be reluctant to take the full brunt of the aerator system. So I'm open to us talking about how we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
So, relative to we both are living where we live in part because of the attractiveness of having a pond. And Andy's got about a 40-year history there, roughly, where he has no reason to tell anything but the truth. We've never had a duckweed problem.
I'm not suggesting that anyone
Let me
is
say
telling
one thing.
anything but the truth.
Yeah.
Let me go back to that I meant to mention.
Okay.
This has been an ongoing thing, through all the years that I was associated with this pond.
When you say this, you mean
The sewage,
The sewage treatment plant, the sewage,
getting in the pond.
yeah.
you know. I know.
I'm aware of 2 times in 7 years that it's happened since I've been here, and both were the result of power going out through weather. And it's important for me that you guys understand and even acknowledge this is not malicious.
Oh,
I have no
understand that.
intention of dropping a single liquid drop of anything in your pond.
I don't believe it is at all. Of course
And
it
we're
is.
spending a lot of money on our side to ensure that doesn't happen again. It's my responsibility, and I understand that. But
And
what it is I think a lack of, all the way through the history of the park, of anybody thinking about what if those pumps go down? What is it gonna do to the?
And I'm assuming when you say people thinking about it, you mean the DEQ and the EPA?
well,
No, I mean the owners of
the original
all the
constructors.
original owners.
Yeah.
You know, we both know that was, all of us know that.
I know, but.
And I've learned more in the last year than I ever thought I would know.
I know.
Right.
But anyway, but the,
I was told when I bought it that everything was 100% top notch, set to go.
well,
And I had no reason to believe otherwise.
And my accountant may have thought that.
In his defense, he may have thought that. I know he
Right.
spent some money before I bought it from him.
But anyway, that, if you could have seen when Dustin was out there in that pond, when he got to this upper end, it's shallow, when he got up in there with that machine trying to scoop up the duckweed, if you could have seen what he churned up off the
He
bottom.
described it for me.
Yeah.
And the smell of it, it's, you know, it's nasty. So, anyway, but it's just been an ongoing accumulation forever.
Here's what I hope. I hope this is the end of it.
Oh, I do too.
I know you do too.
Well-
And what I started saying a minute ago, Scott, is that we should have taken more interest or looked at it closer about what this whole thing was over here. That there should have been a backup on that power from day one. And it's in the permit, if you read the DEQ permit, where it says that you have to have a backup because you have, if your equipment going down, like losing power, is no excuse to allow you to violate your permit. So,
I'm not suggesting that I have an excuse.
no, I know.
We know the reason it happened.
Right.
I'm not trying to make an excuse. I'm trying to fix it.
I know you are.
So, you know, there has been a an emotional load on our side too. You know, between Andy faces the pond, most of his day. We look out our back porch and see the pond, and that's something that that this past summer has just been. It's waking up every day, looking outside and seeing this monstrosity that was supposed to be adding value to our lives, into our property, etc. And while Dustin may be correct about what the pond needed, it was sustaining itself and had been for years and years and years, and this is unprecedented for us. So and it's taken a significant toll on the mental well-being of my wife. She has to look at that every day and knows what's caused it, and it's depressing and frustrating, and has affected her quality of life for the whole summer. And notwithstanding that, when you read the pond owner's manual, it'll tell you don't let trees grow around your pond, all these kind of things to keep the vegetation out of it, and neither Andy nor I had the ability just to fix that. When by the time we bought the house, the trees are already there. You can see even back into the 50s, they still had some trees around the pond, which would have been, again, wrong. Much less letting them grow on your levee. So my contention is that the pond was sustaining itself within its ability to process the nutrients that come from pine straw and leaves and anything else that might get in there, and never had been this out of balance or ugly since Andy's 40 years of being there. So, and it does come back to but for the spill that we can't even codify how big, how long, how much, because your permit says you're supposed to check it every day and have these backups and I understand as well as you do the history of how we got here and how they didn't. I don't even know if they were required to do this kind of stuff back when they built it, but as time has evolved, the rules, the permit has grown in its requirements, and so monitoring, backup system, all that kind of stuff needed to be there, obviously years and years and years ago, but it took that that catastrophic event of a long exposure to a sewage issue that it knocked it back to the point where it couldn't by itself, we guess, couldn't come back, because no sunlight could get into the water because of the presence of the duckweed, which, that's how it processed heretofore. That's how it's processed every time since what, Andy, 1979 or whenever they built this place. Every time that flawed system has overflowed, it's gone into our pond. That's, and so just like you said, last night, the weather, every time the weather turns bad now, presently, there's a cloud hanging over us because there's no backup.
And a cloud over you.
It is a cloud over you too. Yeah, I mean, you had you came to check it out. That's good. But and I understand we talked about people coming to work and doing that. You say, yeah, that's an ongoing problem. But we've been, you've been kind of knowledgeable about this being an issue for the last year, and we're still had a storm last night, and we're all still going, I wonder how that lift station's doing. So it's taken a toll on our family. My wife is and she's not here today because she would not be able to control her distaste for the situation. She would be more than happy to give you an earful about how it's affected her. And so that is my contention, is that the pond, but for the spill and the threat of the spill, could have and was and had a history of taking care of itself as far as processing nutrient and being we had fish in the pond. The pond was sustaining itself. We had bass, brim, catfish, white perch. We had a reasonably healthy pond, considering that we were not needing to do that much ourselves as owners to keep it up. It was sustaining itself. And this whole summer, since about May or so, when that duckweed started to fill in, it's been a very unpleasant summer. And that is, so I'm for those reasons, I'm not satisfied with that. And we still haven't talked about, we've kind of gone out there and I've seen some turtles, we've seen some little, hatchlings, but we haven't yet to see any real fish of any capacity. We had brim about so big, and I have no clue if there's any in there. We actually have, my wife and I have talked about having whatever agency comes and does a fish count, where they shock the water or whatever. It doesn't kill the fish, but they float up and they get a fish count, because I honestly don't know how many we have left. But we had a significant number of them die. And that was one of, I have a bucket, a trash can of floating catfish food sitting on my back porch that was part of, you know, my wife's routine was to go get a bucket of that catfish food and throw it out into the pond, and the brim would come feed on it, you know, and then the turtles would come up and all that kind of stuff. And that, we haven't gone a whole summer without being able to do that, you know. So we were doing some of our part to you know, to keep our fish population healthy and enjoy our pond. And that was, you know, taken away from us this summer, and there's been a large emotional toll in my house been paid for that. And you know, and I can say Andy's retired, you know, he wants to sit out, you know, in his living room and have his TV here and his pond right there, and it's not you know, not what he was expecting either, I don't believe. So
Well, we gotta, you know, we're all just going around and around on what we think and everything. This,
Right.
you know,
Well, I said at the beginning, I was
Yeah.
we know your position,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
I wanted to make mine clear, they're not the same.
that's not the same.
I don't think I'm gonna change your mind, I don't know that you're gonna change mine,
Okay.
which is fine. I think reasonable people can disagree.
Yeah.
Well, you could also try to meet somewhere, you know.
Well, I want to resolve
I
this.
know.
But,
We do too.
but I do want to say this, I don't want to be viewed as an open checkbook every time
Oh,
something
no.
with your pond going forward springs up.
The way-
Provided that we
Only-
do our part on our side to make sure it doesn't leak.
The way we look at it is, if you come up with a reasonable plan, considering that right now the situation is unreasonable.
I'm not coming up with a plan, I told you, I'm telling the
No.
Department of Health, tell us what to do, so that we check your boxes.
I understand that.
So,
So when
that's what we're gonna do.
that plan is in place, when the backups, et cetera, are done, I don't foresee.
I mean,
I think you can at least, you know, for instance, one of the things that your permit says is that you may have to shut the system down, and we talked about that. It means when Plan A, B, and C fail, Plan D is go cut the water off. You know,
Our discussion right now is not Plan D,
I understand
it's
that,
Plan A.
but it's still.
As soon as the power goes out, our plan right now, being reviewed, includes turning the water off immediately.
Okay.
That was your idea.
Well, it's
Right.
something that just occurred to me.
And-
I mean,
and
as
so,
a potential.
It's
Yeah. I mean that.
a very, very difficult thing for me to do to the people that live here.
Oh, I know.
But none of them are threatening to sue me
Right.
right now, right?
Right.
And so,
and
to satisfy the pond, I'm shutting off the water to 80 people.
Right.
And so,
well, you don't want to do that. And
I
that's the
want
whole
to,
point.
but-
That's the whole point of getting the backup, some kind of backup out of it.
Some sort of effort.
And
So, and I'm glad to hear that you're willing to, you know, take on the challenge of shutting down the water, you know, because that does, you know, obviously for the short term, but it does solve the problem, you know, and and I understand, I think how that was gonna, you know, people are not gonna like that, but it does keep you honor your permit and not let any sewage spill out onto the ground.
I told Bill the other day, we were talking about it, and it's just like, you know, I worked for years in the oil and gas production industry offshore. And of course, we had our requirements on what we discharged overboard. Say, the main thing we discharged overboard was produced water, and we had an oil content in produced water parts per million that we had to meet. You know, if you had a problem with your equipment, you couldn't meet it. You shut the whole operation down, you know, which amounted to hundreds of thousands of dollars a day in revenue. So I know what, you know, it's hard
we're
to
on the
do.
same page there.
We're on the same page.
We can move past
It's all
that.
good. And I mean, what Phil says, I agree. I mean, I don't foresee if we get where this giant spill of sewage in there, does not happen in the future, there's no reason that you should have to pay anything.
And the reason that I believe that the aerator is it's fair to ask for that is that I'm guessing that had we not done anything with Dustin, that duckweed would have died and sunk. Again, loaded up. That's why we got it cleaned out. But so come May of next year, with no other thing done to the pond, it starts again. The duckweed says, "Oh look, I've got this nutrient-rich water. I love that," and that could go on for years.
We have enough of the bacteria treatment. We have enough right now, bought and sitting over there, to treat the pond. I think it was through May or June.
Yeah, it's about a 6-month supply.
So, and Dustin thinks that during all this time from now to then, that bacteria will do away with a lot of the nutrients.
And going,
That's the point of it. It's just like,
it
it's
works.
the same, it's just, I guess, more high powered or whatever. It's the same that you would, if you had a septic tank, that you would flush down your commode to keep your septic tank operating properly. So.
And I would, relative to I think that we're going to continue the biologic treatments. I don't foresee that is no, it's after 6 months, this is 6-month supply. That's Andy and Mai's responsibility. We have the aerator system that amplifies the effectiveness of that stuff. And we believe that this winter is going to be the time when it will have its most effectiveness because of water temperature and water ability to hold oxygen. So the aerator provides more oxygen, allows the nutrients to be dissolved or eaten by the bacteria. And I'm hopeful that this coming May, we have no duckweed problem. And then going forward, we will continue to treat as necessary to ensure that the bacterial content is there. And in the summer months, I think he suggested slowing it down or only doing it in the evening when the water temperature's up. But that is, so relative, do I expect to keep sending you the bill for that? No, we're 6 months. I believe is adequate to resolve that. But it's the aerator system. Absent the aerator system, and Dustin's comment, it would be not pointless, but it doesn't work nearly as efficiently without having the aerator to it's like a catalyst to make the process work faster.
So do I own the aerator?
Well, you can if you want to power it. Because Andy's paying for the electric bill to run it.
I'm not fighting you on it.
If I pay for it?
Do you want to? Are you willing to have him move it to your property and run it on your side? Because
I'm making a joke.
oh, I understand.
I know.
Well, I mean, but while we're talking with open minds, I mean, it's.
I wonder
on my side. I don't want to run it. I don't want to power it. I'm just kidding.
All right.
I wasn't very quick on the uptake.
Yeah.
You had me baffled there, Scott.
You got me too.
Sorry.
That's all right. I know what you're saying. But I don't know. I told you a while ago that I expected what you said on the aerator now. So. I'm just dependent, waiting on Phil to, decide what he will satisfy him.
It sounds like his wife wants to hang me from a tree, so.
Yeah. Right.
She's fit to be tied.
Pass along my apology for any distress that she has felt, and please explain to her that while we are apparently in and your eyes slow to respond,
Yeah.
that we are, and that what did happen was not a malicious or
I think-
personal attack on
I think she understands that, but it's hard to take it any other way than personally when it's affecting your person.
And I think all I've got is it's Phil and Jerry have been here, what,
23, yeah.
23 or 4 years. And it's been different things, problems, you know.
Well, the first 6 years, I didn't even know who y'all were, so
Right.
hopefully it wasn't because of anything we did up until this last
Yeah.
July or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
And so,
But it's my intent to never see either one of you again,
uh,
right? And you know what I mean.
yes, I understand. Not in this context.
Not in this context.
In
Yeah.
this,
to do with our sewage and ponds and stuff, so I agree. But,
Things that we never needed to know. EDMS, DEQ, discharge permits, things that we have become familiar with out of necessity to understand just what the hell's going on. We think we understand. We think we understand what it should be, or we did. But how do you So the effort in corroborating that and learning and where one of our most frustrating things, going back to this thing's inception, is just it seemed. I don't know what the rules were back when they originally designed it, but. And it's frustration with DEQ, it's frustration with the health department, because they had a responsibility to
they're
take.
plenty aware of it now, and
Yeah.
we're going to get within their parameters by the time this is all over.
Okay.
So I hope that frustration will be eliminated.
I hope so
as
too.
well.
your problem now, if you want to get to the main root culprit in this, is the DEQ.
Yeah.
Because they should see the system and told whoever was the owner that you need to do this, this, and this.
But that's what we're asking them to do now.
Right.
And
They
so-
should have. They should tell the person applying for the permit. They should spend. They don't. They didn't even look at the original thing for 7 years.
Yeah.
They should tell you that you need a backup. I mean, when you go to put it in and apply for a permit, they should help you, tell you what you need to not get yourself in a bind.
Right.
And which is effectively what we're trying to do
And
now.
that's
get
what
them to
you-
cover.
that's what
And
you're trying to
it's
do.
So let me
Okay.
just put this out here. And let's-
okay. Yeah.
We're like you
We're
said,
round
we're
and
round and around. Let me get my thought together here.
Okay. Go ahead.
So I think there's three things that I'm gonna say and ask
Okay.
of you. I'll pay the whole bill.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna put the pressure on you to try to chop up the aerator. Okay. I'm gonna ask you to sign a release that somebody draws up, to your point, that 6 months from now, when the bacteria supply runs out and all, we're not coming back.
No.
Okay? And I'll have it drawn up, I'll pay for that done, and if you feel like there's something we need to amend, then it can be a living document, if you will.
Okay.
Okay? And we'll get something that we're both comfortable with.
All right.
Okay? Number three, I would ask you to, whatever steps that you are taking to try to have my permit revoked,
Thank you
Please
for
stop.
calling Village Green Mobile Home Park and Village Green Storage.
Okay.
Please leave a message after the tone.
We're gonna do everything that the government and its entities require of us. We will be boxes checked within the parameter of everything that we do will be at their guidance and their approval.
Okay.
Now, is it everything you want? I don't know. Is it more than I want? I don't know, right? How expensive it's gonna be? I don't know. But we're gonna do what is required of us to get in the good graces of the DEQ and the Department of Health.
All right.
But I'm asking you to stop pursuing the revocation of my permit.
I don't want your permit revoked.
Well, I know there's been some calls made to some government bodies trying to find out how to get that done.
Yep.
And
That,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm asking you to not do that anymore.
Well,
Provided that I do the paying and that I do the correcting.
I think we can agree at this moment that that's reasonable. You
I
know.
don't know exactly what that means.
Well,
Elaborate.
am I giving you? I need to consider now what is a reasonable time frame for you to meet that, because I don't want any more of last night.
I don't either.
So, and I absolutely understand the challenge it is to get anybody to come to work right now. I get that. But, you know, at my house, you know, I mean, we're sitting there waiting for the next event until that, and every day. And it doesn't even have, it can be something stupid. You know, a squirrel, you know, does this between two electric lines, you know, pop. And now we're out.
The order
For the monitor.
the warning,
That's
the
a
monitoring
big
system
step.
It's in the queue.
In the queue. All right,
And
that's a
so
big
I
step.
expect that to happen next week, and if not next week, by the next. So
Okay. That's
within the next couple of weeks,
that's a huge
I expect
move
that, which
forward.
we know when the buzzer goes off,
Mhm.
once that's been installed, we can prevent a spill
Yeah.
like this.
Yes, you can.
We can piss off a lot of people in the process, but
Yes.
we know
Right.
that there won't be a spill.
Right.
We can guarantee that.
Yep.
If there's no water going into the well, it can't rise.
Okay, that's
Right.
precisely.
that's what I was talking
That's
about. We
exactly-
did offshore, you know.
And
That's-
so,
Yeah.
um,
So, yeah, that's a large move forward.
and so we, like I said, I'm hoping that that's done by the end of the month.
Okay.
That's 2 weeks from now.
All right.
And if it's not done, Bill, it's important that you understand it's on their end, not our end. Now, that doesn't keep it from happening. I
No.
understand that,
No.
but we're doing right now.
You don't know how much I appreciated what you said you did last night.
Yeah, that's.
Guys, this is important to me.
I-
Okay?
I know it is.
And I don't want, I mean, I've got a lot of money tied up in an asset,
Yeah.
and I've got neighbors who are unhappy, and I told you
That you're trying to make-
1,000 times, I want to be that good neighbor.
All right.
Okay?
Well, you mentioned, and I don't know if this is part of your plan, having some person, what do you call him, like a kind of a problem solver guy. I'm going to look at your situation and look at your structures, and I'm going to give you here's my idea to meet your expectations.
So we're working with a guy out of Shreveport who, you're not going to like when I tell you this, okay? But he works with over 200 oxidation pond sewer systems.
Uh-huh.
And I asked him, I said, rate this and how it's maintained and upkept with all of your others. He says it's in the top 10.
Okay.
Now, I know we don't like necessarily some of the way it's arranged, but comparatively speaking, I do think we do a good job of keeping it clean and maintaining it and all that. Now, I know that we've got work to do, but none of this was intentional, at least on our part, right? And I don't even think the people that put it in were intending to affect anything negatively. But we're waiting on his report.
Right.
And then, of course, we've got James and Jeremy, maybe,
From
Department of Health and
DEQ guy. Right.
are both involved in us creating something that meets their requirements as the permit currently reads, not the way it read when it was installed.
Right.
And so I think through all of that, that if the DEQ is satisfied with our setup and our plan, and the Department of Health is satisfied and approves our plan, that whether y'all like it or not, I don't know that you could expect us to do more than what they say you need to do.
Right. No.
Be happy to share with you what that is once it's finalized.
Well, we'll be interested.
But we're taking this seriously, and we want it corrected. And I don't know how to tell you anything other than that.
Okay.
So
I take you to your word.
Yeah, I do too.
believe you. I know you are.
we want this resolved, and we want it history.
All right. Well, let's keep moving towards that end.
So I think next steps, I know Dustin said he wasn't sure how y'all were paying for it. I don't know if y'all already written the check.
We've already sent checks.
So I'll split it up, or you send me an email how you want the checks broken up, how much to each person, and
Okay, we'll
I'll
do that.
get the release is probably not the right word, but I'll get the document,
Right.
at least a rough draft
Okay.
drawn up.
Yep.
And get you to take a look at it. I want your input on it, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to agree that we can come up with something that we're both, or all three, able to comfortably sign,
All right.
and then get you paid.
All right. We'll let's see what that
And
looks
I
like.
hope that happens in the next week or so.
Okay.
You know how this kind of drags out too, but
I do.
if you want a down payment or something like that, we can work that out.
No, that's fine.
In some form or fashion. But if you will email me, I don't know if you want to just take the number divided by 2, or I don't know how y'all split up the money.
We'd have to go look it up. I mean, because I put down a deposit, so we'll figure it out.
Just tell me how much to each person.
I think I can tell you off the top of my head that I wrote him a check. I wrote Dustin a check for $5,072
Okay.
because that took into account Phil's $500 deposit.
Right. So that's probably my balance as well.
No, yours won't be that.
Well, no, but my
Yeah.
total investment is the same, 5,072.
I'm
But I'm not.
If you go back and look at it and find that it's different, let me know. Otherwise, it's 5,072 to each.
I'm thinking that.
No, yeah,
I don't have the total
Yeah.
written down
I
there.
don't remember.
Well, I can
I
take the total minus 5,072.
I-
I assume that'd be your.
Well, I have to. I mean, I don't have the benefit of having it with me here, but it's like on my computer at home. So I'd have to. I don't. If I'm trying to be accurate, that's what I have to do is go look
Just
at
send
that.
me an
Yeah,
email.
that's the cheapest.
And we were going to trust Andy's recollection, but it doesn't
Yeah.
look like.
Well, it's
You know, I'm pretty sure, but sometimes.
he's
I
probably
know, you
right.
know,
I just bet.
75-year-old senile dude, you don't know.
So you're saying it gets worse, is what you're saying?
Oh, Scott, oh, does it?
Yeah.
Shoot.
You're not even, you know, there's more difference between 60 and 75 than 60 and 20.
Well, that's very discouraging. Because at 52, it feels like it's gaining steam.
You ought to be rolling at 52.
Yeah.
At 52, I was having fun beating 25-year-olds in tennis.
Tennis days are over with, but I did play for a long time.
Mine got over with about 10 years ago. But I enjoyed it when I was playing.
All right.
I'm going to get along to the next,
The next event.
to the next
Put you on
meeting.
the
Okay.
meeting.
Well, we will. I'll get our invoice and do the math for you and send you the email, and I'll put Andy in on it too. And we will. That's a
We'll be in touch
Important, yeah.
first part of next week or so and see
Okay.
kind of where we stand on everything.
all right.
And, you know,